Hey guys, Luis Moreno here, 360 Insurance Group. We've got Jeremy, the Sunfire guru from SMA, our Medicare contracting partner. And we are in video number 7, or the series of this Sunfire training is number 7. Now, in this video, we've done the quoting already. Well, I'm going to go through the history so you know if you can go back if you need to. Number 1 was just an overview of Sunfire, and then the gear sprocket tool at the very bottom where you're going to set up your agent profile. So that's video number 1, guys. Video number 2, the latest and greatest with Sunfire, which is the voice signature option. Huge for us agents. Video number 3, creating a contact. Okay, so Jeremy talks about what you have to do to create that contact in that video. And then video number 4, we do a benefit search. Okay, we check out what these insureds have or these prospects have. We are able to verify their effective dates for Medicare. We're able to look at their enrollment history, and we find out if they got LIS, whether they have that or not, and what level they're at. Then we jumped into quoting. Okay, so quoting. How do you do your quotes? So Jeremy spent a good amount of time talking about comparing, entering some data, using that data that you enter, help the algorithms within Sunfire to work for you and at least give you a starting point, and then how to do some plan comparisons. And now you've made a decision to pick a plan, and now you're going to go ahead and you're going to enroll them. And so Jeremy, let's start off with how to complete a scope and then how to do an enrollment on Sunfire. All yours, man.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for that intro. So looking into, obviously, we want to get them enrolled. We verified doctors. Obviously, we know before we review benefits, we want to get that scope of appointment. So here's our guy again, James Cameron. If we go down the line here, we start on the left. We have contacts, quote, and then here's the scope of appointment page. So like I said, if you're on that recorded line through the dialer in Sunfire, you're going to get an option here that says, thank you so much. We have you on a recorded line, and then we can do that voice signature. We reviewed that on a previous call. If you're in person and you do a paper application, you can just click upload scope, and then you can just choose file, and you can click and drag. So if you met them at CVS or if you met them at an event in the field and you have a paper app that they sign, hey, you know, we'll have an appointment time on the books, you can upload a paper scope. You also have email scope as well as a text scope. So either is going to be the exact same. So essentially, this is 100% compliant through CMS. So if you say, what do I need to read? Read it all. So I just let them know we're going to review a quick scope of appointment. We know that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services require agents to document a scope of marketing appointment prior to face-to-face. That also applies to over the phone as well. And then here you can go over, okay, here's what plans we're going to talk through today. So we're going to walk through, Part C plans. We're going to put in initial method of contact. This has the asterisk next to it, so we need to put something in. So you could say, we met at initial method of contact at a marketing event. Plans the agent represented during this meeting. So I'm a broker, I'm sure as many of you are. So I usually just say broker reviewed all plans. Or if there's a plan that they recommended in particular, hey, I want to hear about that new Humana plan. And then we can go over when the appointment was completed. And then if there's any additional information that you need to sign, like an explanation of why the scope appointment was not documented. So at this point, you could just say, if there was some sort of error or, computer failed or, my dog ate my scope of appointment form. You can put that there. Most people just leave it blank. And then at that point, you can email it. So when you email it, it's going to give them that code. and then it's going to use the email that you have on file for them. So before emailing it, same thing for text. It's going to say, here's that 6-digit code, and then you can send it. So when you send it, what it's going to look like is it's going to have an email. It's going to come from Sunfire Matrix. So I would just have them be on the lookout for that email. And then it's going to say, we need you to put in that 6-digit code. It's going to ask the client to put in that code. And it's also going to ask for their date of birth. So make sure, very important, you give them the correct number and you fill out their date of birth. At that point, once you put it, you'll be able to see that it was successfully signed, and then you can move on. I have a fake email in there. So for this example, I will actually go back and just do the in-person scope. It's going to be the exact same thing. You'll get the exact same look from it, but this is something that the client can sign in person. So we'll do the exact same thing. Let's review some Part C plans. We met at a marketing event. Plans, let's just say new MAPD from Humana is the plan they wanted to look at. And then here's where they can sign. So this is where the beneficiary or authorized representative signs. So this could be your power of attorney, or the party that makes decisions for them. So they could go in. If you're on a tablet with a little pen, you could just have them sign on the tablet. Or you can have them just take control of the mouse and sign to their best of ability. It doesn't have to be pretty. Make sure that they're clicking save signature. We have a lot of people that do not click save signature, and then when they scroll to the bottom, it doesn't let them out. So make sure after they sign it, click save signature. And then if they do have a power of attorney, they would put that in. So, James Cameron does not make his medical decisions. Here's the representative's name and relationship to the beneficiary. So they'll click save. Once they click save, it'll say, sounds great. We have you, the scope of appointment created. Please remember to sign the scope of appointment yourself to complete it. So I'll show you what that looks like. So it'll default you back to that scope of appointment page. It says that the date that they signed it, this looks great, but it does not say we have signed it. So remember, when we created our profile, we created that wet signature. All you have to do, click sign. And once you've clicked sign here at the end, it's going to load and it's going to say we are good to go. And we can pull up that scope of appointment at any time. It's going to say we are successful. We have a scope of appointment. Here's what we talked about. Here's my signature. Here's the client's signature. We're ready to rock. You could save it as a PDF for bookkeeping as well. So now that the scope is done, we've looked at doctors, we've looked at drugs, we've narrowed it down to a plan. We're going to do an actual enrollment for this client. So let's go back to our quote page. I'm actually going to enroll this person in a WellCare plan just so you can see it. So I can go back after this call and just take this application out. But I want y'all to see the most live action part of this process. So you'll be able to enroll. If you do not have that green enroll button, then that means you do not have access to enroll the plan. So check your ready to sell reports. But here, it's going to add applicant information. Anything that's with an asterisk on it, we need to put. So we can just go down. They don't have to choose to answer. I would just read all of this. Your race. I would just make sure that they confirm male or female. If they have a title, that's not required. They have their phone number, their email, and I would just start reading at this point. So once you get past no, I would say there's times that WellCare will automatically text or call you. This happens, we'll make sure to use the number that you provided, the 555-5555 number. With emails, by providing your phone and email, permission to contact you on your enrollment via automated call or text. And then this is where we're going to start keying in their information. So we're just going to fill out the application as normal. Let's say he moved from Hollywood to the great music city of Nashville. Is the email different? No. Okay, let's continue. And so with this, I'm going to see if I can put in a see if they'll let us through with an invalid, but we'll see. So this one, if I was born in 1950, then my plan 65 would start in 2015. And so with this one, do you wish to specify a primary care? You can select yes. And then this is where it's going to pop up and say, okay, here's that one that we confirmed. Then this is going to be the one that they select. Are you currently a patient at this provider? Yes. Language preference, English. Format, do you want a large print? You can. Okay. We'll see if it lets us through or not. And what we might want to do, Lewis, is if we want to unshare the screen, I can put in a Medicare number just to get us through this portion.
Just go ahead. Go ahead and do that, because I think you're going to have to.
Perfect. Yep. So I stopped sharing my screen. So if you just want to just send it to me in the chat,
I can do that.
then I can get that plugged in, and I'll make sure that we delete it just so it's not saved.
I'll put it up here. Let's see here. I've got one pulled up for you.
And this is a great example, folks that are listening in. If the Medicare claim number is not correct, or if it's not a valid number, or if it's short a number or over a number, it is not going to let it's not going to let you through. So let me key in this number that was provided, and then we'll get trucking right along. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. So we're through. If it's deemed a valid number, then it's going to push that application through. So we're back sharing the screen. So it says, okay, we've put in that basic information. Now we're ready to enroll. So now it's going to go through enrollment period. Like I said, guys, a lot of this stuff is in must read, bold letters. Everything that's on here, I would read. So this is something that y'all do every day. So typically you can enroll during specific annual enrollment periods. There are exceptions. So for this one, let's just say, hey, we're getting a special, or they lost a special needs plan for that they're required in, or they recently changed extra help, or if it's that Cigna plan, let's enroll in a 5-star. So for this one, let's just say, hey, that they are leaving their employer coverage. They're making them pay for it now, and they don't want to do it. Or if released from incarceration. So if it's some of these, it very well might ask them for a date or a look back on when that happened. So just put that in to the best of your ability. So we've put in that information. Now it's going to ask if they have any additional coverage, VA, will your spouse work other than VA? Is there any other medical coverage that you're receiving? Resident of a nursing home, actively enrolled in Medicaid. If you do click yes, it's going to pop up to put that Medicaid number in. So we'll say no for this example. Then it's going to ask payment options. So they can either do monthly bill. So they'll just, if it's a $0 premium plan, they're just going to get a bill in the mail that's going to say you owe $0. I just tell clients to keep that. If they do have a premium, then you could say, hey, do you want to do bank account, Social Security, or railroad retirement? So usually monthly bill if it's a $0 plan. Never assume. I just give them the options. So we're moving on through. Now we're going to review the application. So just making sure that all of this is correct, that we put in all the correct information. So we have that. So we've acknowledged that all of this information is correct. They must read all of these disclosures as an agent. So just go through and read this disclosure. It is the enrollee. And now we have a couple options. So you could e-signature. So that's if the client is in front of you, do the signature pad, or you can send a request to the customer on the phone via text or email. If you're on that recorded line, here's where it's going to say do voice. So if it is do voice, you'll click voice, and then it's going to give them 3 disclosures. So each disclosure has 8 to 10 options. That's where it's going to say, you could be entitled to a Part D IRMA, depending if your Medicaid level changes or if you change status. It's going to kind of just go through everything that they will essentially type through just verbally. So for this example, let's just say they're in front of us. We want that e-signature. They can either type out their name, or they can do the signature pad and they could sign it here. Always make sure to save signature. And now we can submit the application. So when we submit, it's going to save it. It's going to prepare the enrollment, and it's going to submit it. And it's going to submit this application usually at the end of the day at midnight. So if you put in the wrong information, or you realize after the fact something has changed, reach out to Luis. Luis will get in touch with us. If it's you put in the incorrect Part A, Part B effective dates, not a huge issue. We can make sure that you get that. We'll update that information for you on that end. So it says success. It also gives you some options if you want to email that certification. And then here's that portion where you can start that HRA. As soon as you hover over it, that's when it's going to start giving you some options on how long you have. So WellCare, we have 2 days. Humana has 30 days. Aetna, better do it now because it has 60 minutes. So that's a good reminder. If we want to hop into the HRA, it's pretty quick. Essentially,
we'll do that in the next video, Jeremy. But here's kind of a pro tip, guys. Don't wait. Perfect. You're there with a customer, and you're going to have to ask these customers some questions. Why call them back? Why just guess at the answer? Just get it done right there and get it over with and get your extra HRA money.
That's correct. Awesome. We'll see you in the last one.
All right.